Like Winston had a good game, which is definitely not what happened in game number 1. Lost and Treats got 2v2 first blooded and then completely styled all over that lane, and then the rest of the game. Dokla did his thing and played weak side like a well-behaved Shen, and Evolved got blasted in lane in farm and then didn't die and popped off and killed everyone. So yeah, I would say it went pretty well despite some perhaps early game hiccups on the TSM side. So we'll see what draft number 3 has to bear here, as Ash is going to get banned. That's a telling sign for EG.
And Shen too. Both of those globals just take off the
Caitlyn
board.
ban.
And Caitlyn as well. So we're going to be seeing something new in this bottom lane. I'm liking the fact that they are spicing it up. I was a little bit concerned if TSM was just going to say, you know what, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it does let the Nidalee through.
It does.
They might lock that in for Anda, really give him some power play and some counter jungling style. I do like that fact. We were talking about, you know, going for that priority pick, picking blue side, get a strong jungler for Anda, and then really get a winning bottom lane for Deathly and Matt. Already, the recipe is looking good.
I assumed that Caitlyn ban was a reaction to the Ash ban, which if so I really like from TSM. Oh, center as well here from Lost. This man is just all over these meta ADs right now. Long range, like solid laning phase, can let Treats kind of get unlocked and get aggressive if he wants to. Does seem like, despite, again, very limited practice from what we've heard, Treats and Lost feeling right on the same page again. Is that just going to take LeBlanc here, maybe?
Bold strategy evolved if you're going LeBlanc blind. Like, you have Syndra still available, you have some tanks that you could run into the mid lane if you so choose. So this is, honestly, if there's a game to be a little bit greedy, be hasty for TSM Academy, this is the one where you're on match point. It's 2-0. Like, you can give a game if you want just to give Evil Geniuses a sense of hope, but blinding your Senna allows what I was talking about EGA wants, right? Like, they want to be able to counterpick this bottom side of the map, get something advantageous, and Jhin is a pretty good answer because he fits with a lot of aggressive supports for Matt, and you have a strong pick style composition with Anda's Nidalee.
Yeah, Jhin here into setup. We have fun one to try and track. See if Matt wants to take a support here as well, or if he is going to move himself down in the pick priority. It doesn't seem like it here with the Nautilus being hovered. But this is going to make Giyu's life a little rough potentially in the mid lane, because he's going to likely lose some champions here in the phase 2 advance. But Nautilus is selected, so presumably going alongside the Jhin for the 2v2 matchup. And TSM also, same question. Do you pick a support here, or do you wait to try and get something else now that you want a little bit more priority over? I think seeing the whole bottom lane, you can probably happily counterpick here as Treats and be just fine. About 5 seconds for TSM to go ahead and make that decision, and it's Olaf, which I also like.
Okay, all right. If there was going to be a support being locked in, I would have thought maybe Tahm Kench, right? Like, you could go either farming or fasting Senna, whichever you so choose with him, and because it's just that disengagement to diffuse the aggressive bottom side of Deathly and Matt, it would be just fine there. The Olaf being locked in, though, does give me a little bit of comfort for TSM because it's something that's familiar for Winston. He doesn't have to worry about it too much, and he showed really good communication in game 2. So if it ain't broke, just keep running it through. Still very strong duelist in the early stages, so they can contest those neutral objectives. So now it's all on this top side of the map. Both of these teams are going to be vying for that top lane control. Volibear already taken away from Kumo. Braum is taken off, so you don't have that safety in the bottom side. I'm expecting maybe a Tahm Kench ban here from the Evil Geniuses if they don't want that diffusion, and then a Renekton once more from TSM Academy to really double down on that top lane advantage.
Yep, just picking on Kumo, actually not afraid of whatever Giyu is going to maybe pick here. Perhaps the Volt feel like he has a pretty good foot love this pick from Treats, if nothing just for like the panache of it. Like he's clearly so confident, given how the first 2 games have gone in the 2v2.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, give me Leona. Let me close this game up real quick. I'm sure he's going to take Ignite and try and get aggressive, whether it's in the 2v2 or roaming out. But Camille, Twisted Fate is the finishing touches here. So TF was one of the champions that was left unbanned. TSM have to have known this, given that they banned it already in 2 games. So giving this over might be a bit risky, but they appear to have a plan for it because they wouldn't leave it open otherwise.
Well, it's that Twisted Fate Camille comp. You know, Galio would have been the better option, but this is just as fine. So you have that level 6 power spike to trade for those turrets.
He's doing it!
All right, sweet. Nice lock-in. I was waiting for it, and he goes in to fight fire with fire. So TSM is really sort of flexing their muscles here and saying, anything you can do, EG, I can do better. And these compositions are almost exactly the same. Very strong mid lanes to go out, roam, help out their side lanes. Side lanes are extremely potent, especially this top side of Kumo versus Dokla with the Camille Jax matchup, and early aggressive junglers as well. So both of these teams cooking the same same recipe. I'm going to be really interested to see who has a more appetizing composition when it gets into game, and you got to give the benefit of the doubt to the person who is actually in the lead series-wise, and that is TSM Academy.
I feel like Dokla's just like, do you see what happened to me last game? I played weak side Shan, a 25 CS deficit. Give me Jax, I'm out of here. I want to go eat some dinner here and wrap up the series real quick. I mean, Jax was one of those champions that was buffed kind of in the large suite of changes that happened on this patch. You know, everyone looked at, Camille was already kind of on people's radar. People started looking at Shen again. We had Fiora maybe be a consideration for some people, but Jax also got changed in and amongst all those champions. And I believe this is certainly the first Jax of Academy, one of the first Jaxes around the world. Perhaps.
I'm pretty sure, and it's something where I think the change is just to his Counter-Strike cooldown in early stages, so he has better trading potential against these fighters like Camille, like Tryndamere, if he was going against Zion Spartan, perhaps, but that is something that going into this game, we're going to have so much attention going at level 6. Like, I'm expecting Anda to try and rush for it as soon as possible, and with the help of Gyu as well on that TF, look at that top side, ignore Deathly and Matt, do the pillar as they need to in that bottom side, and really get this top lane under control and in their favor, because either of these champions, Camille or Jax otherwise, is going to just take this game by storm if they get out of hand.
Yeah, look, Gyu also is going to have to play a little bit differently here. He's been really hyphy in these 1v1s, just trying to get leads and like be aggressive, and Evolve has done a good job absorbing that pressure, but Twisted Fate's kind of the opposite. You just want to push the lane and get out of there as many times as humanly possible, whereas Evolve may have some pressure there, although they're both taking TP, I believe, when I last checked the summoner spells, so not going to be much kill threat 1v1, but again, Evolve wants to do the same thing, but cannot do it with, an ultimate that teleports you across the map. So curious to see how the pressure shakes out between the 2 mid laners as well, because as you said, there does seem to be quite a lot coalescing on that top side of the map. Even these duo lanes are very much about enabling other people. There's lots of CC actually on both sides here, with these more utility-laden ADs. So Jax Camille certainly could tip to bounce in the game very, very swiftly.
Yeah, and the last time we actually saw this situation with these two teams is regular season. The final game of TSM Academy versus EGA in regular was a TF mid lane with these topside heavy compositions. Last time, though, Evolved was able to get the counter pick and go Silas to where he could duel him in lane and then roam and match him. He was able to get the advantage, but unfortunately for them, it was a sense of just throwing one too many times and giving the fights over to Deathly to where he could just take that game by storm and overwhelm them with just constant picks on the Jhin, as a matter of fact. So for them, I hope they've learned their lesson, but honestly, with the way that this confidence and this ego boost came from TSM Academy, it might be the one game that they give over to EG.
All right, we'll have to see, because confidence must be high for TSM, and EG must win all 3 games to keep themselves in this series and in playoffs. So we're stepping away to build up the game delay, but when we return, we'll be getting this match started, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to TSM Academy versus Evil Geniuses Academy. We'll be leading onto the Rift in just a moment, but Champ Select is done, and these comps look real similar as we go through them.
This is some awkward, like, Jekyll versus Hyde thing, where they're the literal exact same person just looking in a mirror and just saying, well, Yeah, me versus you, I guess, and just like punch the mirror and find out what happens and see if the reflection is able to knock out real life, which would be really weird, but an interesting concept to be honest. But nonetheless, what this does mean though, because they are so similar, is that the economy safety net for these teams is really short, right? Because if either of these top laners gets 2,000 or even 2,500 gold leads over the other one, this game might as well just be over.
It's a very tricky invade here as well from Trees. He's going to try and catch deftly. The rest of TSM are getting in there, and the ward's going to go to... It's Dokla getting that first CS lead.
Now, unfortunately for him, because so many people participated in this ward destruction, he won't be able to get like any cheeky level 2 advantage for taking it down. But it does mean that they do smell the blood in the water, and Anda and Kumo were able to get that ward right at the chicken bush just to make sure they can keep track of Winston. I also like this from Kumo as well, sitting in that tri-brush to see if Dokla was going to walk through it. Nonetheless, it does not happen, so he's not going to try and do anything too aggressive. I eat my words. He goes straight back into it so he can get that early auto attack trading if Dokla decides to be a little bit more confident with walking into the lane.
I like TSM's level 1 setup here, just double checking that no one is in there, at least going for a level 1 play, just trying to mix things up nice and early. As it all stands, Winston just going to go ahead and take his red buff nice and cleanly, and same side start for Anda, going to be on the blue and just speed clearing here on the Nidalee, as mid lane already trading auto attacks here with those corrupting clutch riders ticking away, and Counter-Strike first here for Dokla, getting the slaps down onto Kumo.
There we go. I was a little bummed out that Kumo decided to fall back and just not actually auto attack trade Dokla and get some surprise kicks onto him. Maybe it was sort of, you know, uneasy about the Counter-Strike capability that might come through, but in any way, this whole setup of both these two teams just tells the whole tale of rushing to level 6. We're going to try and get to that roaming capability, get these two online, and it was, as a matter of fact, Dokla getting that cheeky level 2. Only 2 members participated in taking down that ward, so he was able to get that power spike fairly quickly and push Kumo away from the wave.
That chain looked invisible on my screen from Evolve, just fires a point blank into Giyu after distorting on top of him. But getting pushed in right now, so it does have to just trim these waves and try and keep up with the PvE pace that Giyu will be setting here. But Evolve certainly knows he has to be aggressive in this matchup to keep pace with Twisted Fate. Does not want to let it fall into any sort of passive lane and just let Twisted Fate get away with roaming whenever he pleases.
For sure, right? Like, and you're expecting you to go a little bit more beefy to thwart any aggression from Evolved for that specific reason. Maybe go for a Rod of Ages instead, so you have that additional health and sustain. Just go ahead, push out the wave, and then look for those roams with the assistance of Anda. And already matching each other on the side, the mirroring of these junglers having that priority, and Giyu just not having a fun time. Evolved is doing such a good job on this matchup.
Yep. Electrocute as well for Evolved, also helping out there in those trades. It's a spellbook for Giyu here. They both have TP, so much more focus there for the Twisted Fate. Kumo though getting the action in while it's good. Dokla even eating the last part of the sweep there as Giyu is forced to TP back to lane early with a quick null magic mantle, certainly respecting the power of LeBlanc in this 1v1.
Yeah, I wonder if he might go like Merc Treads or something first, just for that hard like safety rush and have the movement speed to get out of the lanes quicker so he can keep those roams against Evolve. But a TP as well from Dokla after that awkward trade for him does mean that he'll keep that additional pressure up, so Winston can have some safety on this top side and will have that additional priority to look for this scuttle, right? Because Anda had already gotten bottom lane, they understood where he was at, there's no reason for them to contest it, trade 1 for 1 and keep this match going.
Yeah, Winston going to go ahead, take that crab as you mentioned, and that wave is pushing the wrong way. Dokla, I think, though, is just going to try and break it because Kumo is already TPing back. So kind of a delayed TP trade for the top laners, but they end up in effectively the same position at the end of it all, as Anda will be spotted by the Scryer's Bloom. Nice use of the plants there from Winston.
Good spot, honestly. Like, the fact that Winston has been able to track Anda in this series so well, either with the help of Lost when he was on Ashe or otherwise, is really helping them keep that differential in their favor. And ooh, this trade already not looking too good for Matt. They're beefy though.
Soul Collection Foundry there for Lost there as he just keeps auto-attacking Matt. Really nice setup there. You can see just how long those CC chains can last. Top lane though is a 3v2 at currently, with Winston being up here to cover for this potential dive. I like what Kumo did, like he's slow pushing the wave. setting up for a potential dive, so EG were there to try and answer, but unfortunately it does not net anything with Winston continuing to have good coverage.
Yeah, and it wasn't a level 6 Gyu either, so he couldn't immediately dive onto it. So he did give some pressure over to Evolved in the end, and also lost that trade. So I'm curious to see how much of a punish that will come out from for TSM Academy, just to make sure they can keep tempo of this Twisted Fate for Gyu. And with the Ocean Drake also online, like, neither of these teams will be really looking to take it at that 6 to 8 minute mark that is on average for the Academy season. So for them, play it safe, keep up. We're still waiting for those level 6s, guys. Like, speed run to that timer so we can really get the blood on the board.
Now the Evolved chain angles continue to look very impressive. Clearly has a lot of mastery on this champion. TSM also right on 6 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
Start this first version. I mean, it is Olaf. He's like the king of the early Drake, but he's got pushing, Lost in Trees to also help him out here, so it's going to be the easiest Ocean Drake of TSM's life. As Dokla and Kumo continuing to trade blows. Dragon goes over, Dokla level 6 is pressuring Kumo, but Kumo does have his ulti now as well, and this is what he's going to do with it. Looking for Dokla, who is going to have to flash away. Good respect there from the Jax, but Anda, right place, right time to get the summoner.
Yeah, make me bite my words on that objective contest for the bottom lane, but honestly, with the pressure that Ando was able to provide, now you have a little bit of space for Kumo to just slowly scale back up, farm up, with the double Dorns as well. So he went that cheater style to just try and be more efficient at trading. The issue is, he's not winning the lane. He's just sort of going neutral again, and this is the problem that Evil Geniuses has had throughout this entire series. Their solo lanes are never in a position to find those advantages and really double down and punish TSM when they try and overstep, because now that you do that Doran's Blade double strat, you slow your itemization down, the power spikes will come later, and Dokka will have that Blade of the Rune King faster than you will, and it will just completely throw this differential that we were talking about on the top side out the window and really make a concern for Evil Geniuses Academy to try and answer.
Wow, Anda took the blue buff. Okay, that is that's a telling sign about what's happening here in this game. I mean, to be fair, Twisted Fate doesn't need it. He's probably one of the better champions without it, even in the early game. But Andrew is like very much saying, like, I am the early game part of this team. I need this buff to try and carry, and Gyu is just going to try and assist with his ulti and his Merc Treads rush that he is going, because Evolved is just bullying Gyu right now. He's going to scoop this wave up, but he'll be down, you know, 2.5 waves, like close to 20 CS before he scooped off that wave there between the two. It's, 15, 14 right now. So Evolved is just playing very well in this 1v1, continuing to apply pressure. And, man, if he had Ignite, he would have died so many times here. But
yeah,
that's two solo queue for this game.
If this was an Ignite LeBlanc on Evolve, but here we go. Here's that top lane fight.
Oh, dodges behind a minion. Dokla very clever. Oh, he's going to shut down the thing as well. And there comes the Twisted Fate, but it's too late to at least stop the first blood here. Dokla finally going to go down as the Conqueror isn't enough to keep him alive. But the cavalry is arriving, but not in time. Nice trade there for EG.
And honestly, Evolved with the pressure in mid lane, with the assistance of Winston sitting in this river, made sure that you could not roam up in time to save Kumo's life. And the 2v1 goes in favor of Dokla, grabbing that Bilgewater Custless now. And this is the power spike that I was worried about. The fact that you go that cheater strat of double Dorans, now you're an item behind, and these trades going on the bottom side are now...
It doesn't end. It doesn't end. The CC chain doesn't end. Lost is going to kill Matt with a perfect setup of skill shots there for treats, and TSM are off to the races once again. It's looking like game 2 all over again, Coco.
Oh man, I was really looking for a strong start from Deathly and Matt, but that just went completely out the window. Treats just destroying him with his counter matchup lane on Leona, and this is just a brutal replay. Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about outside of the fact that Dokla's counter-strike was immaculate, just wasted so much time, provided so much deflections, and just completely turning that fight on its head.
It's even worse when I look back at it too, because Kumo flashed, and the reason he flashed because if there was a ward in the middle brush there, and if you get out of vision of a buffered auto attack and you get out of vision, it won't connect. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. The brush was a little too far away, given how short the flash is, so he died regardless of the summoner spell being used. So, lovely attempt, but just the details not working out there as Doka was able to scoop up the first blood. And even though the roam for the trade was good by EG, you said it at the top of the game, Cole, where these are the kind of games where, because the comps are so similar, if the game starts snowballing, it doesn't take much for it to go completely pear-shaped.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where you're saying, okay, the team has a 2K goal difference, like globally. That's not something to worry about. This is one of those games that you really have to be worried if 2K goes awry. But Douglas getting caught in the river, giving a kill over for free would not be the best way to swing this over.
Good work from Anda. Yeah,
great catch on that.
Flash Q did have to burn the summoner, but he is able to get the kill, so the gold is going to stay a little bit closer.
Okay.
A few hundred now between the two as the pressure is continuing. Gio and Matt trying to push in this mid lane.
All right, and we have Dragon coming up in 40 seconds. I can already see TSM is planning for it. You had the Herald taken from Winston. He can go ahead, throw it in mid lane, shut down Gio even more, or you could drop it in this bot side and give Lost in Trees a lot of turret plates for themselves, as giving that pressure to take this Dragon without any issue. Not to mention, definitely doesn't really have the best wave clear, so this is going to be pretty much a free turret, at least a couple plates there if TSM decides to really double down on it. They're just waiting for the perfect time to do so.
Unfortunately, the Demolish proc could not be completed there for Treats, but they'll go at it again in just a moment. Dragon up in 5 seconds.
Okay.
TSM already positioned, like you mentioned. Dokla does not have TP, though, so going to have to do a bit of extra work if TSM want this Dragon.
All right, nice here from Anda being able to sort of sneak in. Unfortunate that they were caught out on that ward at the very back of the Dragon Pit, but nonetheless, TP priority is on Kumo.
Oh,
nice
sneak him in. I love that. Using the Shroud there to sneak Treats in. He's going to have to flash here, though, because the Jhin ulti and the rest of EG are coming in hot. Kumo looking for the lockup in the cage and does indeed ultimatum Treats. There's the center ulti to try and save the Leona, though, but it's not enough as the root does hit under 3 with the follow-up there from center, but no kills forthcoming for TSM. It's all EG right now.
Well done from EG. You saw the teleport coming in. TSM disengaged fairly well, but you just cannot run away from a Camille with that hook shot. Just really covers so much mileage and is able to lock down Trees with the flash already being gone. And great play from them as well to just double down, get this Dragon for themselves, because you got to make the most of that teleport, because during this time, Dokla is just whacking away on this top turret, taking as many plates as he can. You already have a 20 CS differential, and he is real close to his Blade of the Ruined King, where he can just tear this solo lane apart. He has enough to finish that Bork, as a matter of fact, so he can go ahead, cash in, and really start to take control of this game.
Yeah, this 1v1, again, to your point earlier, you get 1 or 2k ahead in these kind of lanes, and the game can fall to pieces pretty quickly. He's 1,000 gold ahead right now. He finishes that Blade of the Ruined King as Evolve looking to dive in onto Gyu, gets the Electrocute procced. But Gyu has stabilized the matchup a little bit.
Yeah, so this is another fun thing with Anda and how he plays as Nidalee too, because he's 3-0. He has all of the kills on Evil Geniuses, and he is going for a Rod of Ages, so he knows he needs to be in the front line, he knows to be beefy. The next question is he going to be going a little bit more sustainable with Athene's Unholy Grail, or is he going to get greedy and say, I am this early mid-game carry, I've been the one finding the picks, I need the damage to do so? So now that question will come into fruition in the next couple of minutes, but at this time, TSM still had that Herald in their back pocket, so they can keep giving some advantage to Dokla, some spacing, but this might be too greedy because you could get pinched.
Yeah, Dokla is just going to get shut down. Oh my goodness, Jax is so gross. 1v2, doesn't even need his jungler. Here's the mid laner just to be safe, but Dokla completely styles on EG in that 1v2.
What the
he's in there. Kumo, he's dead. Flash stun for the counter-strike. See you later. As TSM will take another tower as well. This is getting gross.
Oh my goodness, and now we're at that 2,000 gold difference. All of that is going to be dumped onto Dokla's Jax here, and he can go back. He's got the magical boots as well, so he probably has enough to say, oh yeah, he's got 2,000. He's just like, you know what, screw it. I'm guessing he's going to be going for probably that Trinity Force just to be constantly dueling. If he goes for Tiamat, that's a full investment into the side lane push, but we see the Phage, we see the Ninja Tabby, so he's saying, you know what, I want to be fighting as much as possible. I don't want to be in these side lanes. I want to kill every single member of Evil Geniuses Academy so I can get these stacks, get this power, and completely dominate this game. I want the MVP.
Luden's done as well for Evolved. Does miss a chain for once. At level 11 to level 10 right now as Evolved continues to apply pressure. He's up still, about 20 CS. He's been floating this lead for quite a while, but yeah, let's watch this.
We really need to see this again.
Yes.
Of course we do. Counter-Strike so well done. And the Blade of the Ruined King just doing all that work. He also activated his ultimate as well, just for that additional resistances. And it was just bonk, 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 dude. Like, he just whacked Adam away. And he keeps going. Like, he knows he has the damage to do so. And the fact that you are at this point where Dokla is like a third or just under half health, and he's telling his full health Olaf to dive with him is just insane. So TSM Academy knows when they have the power, and they know when they can punish evil geniuses.
Yep. Dragon up in a minute 40. At least the first two are split, so it's going to be a delay on the Soul Snowball, but Kumo knows he is unsafe whenever Dokla is in the vicinity, and he is now, so he's going to back away slowly, but Jack's matchup's not going to get any easier. Mid lane also going very nicely for TSM, as Evolved has looked good, and definitely does have a CS lead, but that 2v2 kill for TSM has basically made that lane, even if not slightly ahead, for TSM as they'll look to have that 2,500 gold lead nice and early, which again is in range for enough of an advantage to take over this kind of game when the compositions are so similar and the margin for error does seem so small.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that Lost on Senna, the itemization is so much cheaper because you're going against an Infinity Edge into possibly a rapid fire cannon for Deathly, as Gyu just gets beaten down here in this mid lane. But going for Lost, it's like Manamune is what, only 2,800 gold, easy to cash in on that. You can go ahead, grab those boots as well for only 900, and a Phage as well. So it's so much more cost efficient, and you can see it here because the base damage that both him and Treats provide in these duels is immense, and it just overwhelms this bottom lane.
Treats the snipes have been on point so far. My favorite one was when Senna actually used her mist to like pop Treats out, which I don't think I'd ever seen a team really do effectively, at least in NA. Usually they just used it to get away, but actually sneaking the Leona in was kind of fun to watch. Also, Dokla's diving mid lane, so he knows he has to get out of there. He's got no TP, he does have his ulti, but just going to have to watch this tower fall unless he can clear the wave nice and quick. Red card's going to make it a little bit easier though, but he does leave the tower on a Jack's bonk of health away.
And remember, like, at the beginning of the series, we were saying, man, Lost is, like, that one interesting factor of this team. Like, he's not a stable pillar like Deathly is. He's that wild card that can do either very well or very poorly, depending on his matchups. And honestly, I think Treats has made it to where that is a more reliable situation. He's been able to keep Lost safe. He's been starting these fights. He's been aggressive when he needs to be, and he's really giving so much breathing space for him that Lost has just been able to shine on every single one of these games. His Ashe game was immaculate, and now he's showing up on Senna and just taking over this bottom lane, getting ready for this Mountain Drake, which is available. The only question for them now is, will TSM Academy decide to eye for it now, or get some more pressure in the mid lane before Evil Geniuses sneaks it away?
Lander has been spotted, but I don't think he's going to stop the Drake anytime soon. I take it back. He does leap out, showing some restraint there because TSM are quickly converging on the area. Riptile drops mid. We've seen this play from TSM before, and Gyu is in trouble. You cannot be sticking around for too long here, Chief. Gyu says, I agree. He's going to back off.
Alright, good play. He'll get that turret no matter what. Honestly, if Evolved was like super greedy, he could dash in and like try and get a couple autos in before the Herald crashed in, but yeah, understandably safe and secure on that mid lane, and now they can go ahead with that priority that they're able to get in the mid lane. They're going to take this dragon to boot, and a mountain dragon, a mountain soul for this team already with Treats on Leona, with Dokla and his fighting capability with his ultimate that gives extra resistances, is going to be so dang strong. And with a shield to boot, there's no way that this pick composition of Evil Jesus' Academy with Anda's Nidalee and Gyu will be able to ever take you down in the side lanes.
And souls for Senna as well in the bot lane, and after that dragon, always important for Senna to keep that soul count high. But bottom lane, the last outer tower here is going to be the next target for TSM Academy. Root lands in onto Matt, tower's going to take a hit, and Lost is going to get everyone out of there with the mist, because EG are responding to this siege.
Good spacing from TSM to make sure that there's no room for error in this siege, and with the harassment that was coming down. They also had Dokla on that top side, now coming down to sort of hover over mid to make sure no one tries to answer Evolved, where you saw Kumo in that mid lane seeing if he could try and sneak in a couple kicks onto the turret, wasn't able to find him, and now Dokla says, alright, let's see if I can grab some jungle camps for myself before I start to apply the pressure back onto you and twist the blade in this top side even further.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think that Dokla's willing to be this aggressive when there's Twist of Fate on the enemy team, right? It does not take much for Gyu to join the potential scuffle, but We have seen so few ultimates from TF because of how much pressure
that was a cleanse from Deathly.
Yep. Had to cleanse off the Leonislow, I guess. Or maybe the stun was going to hit him, but had to cleanse off something.
Yeah, best call, to be honest. Like, Matt is nowhere in sight. He was coming back from base just to have additional resistances. Is fairly close to his Gargoyle Stone Plate, but I don't know how much that is going to help you when Treats can just go straight on to Deathly through the blade and then just take him out from there. Item completed. What is it? Well, it's a Black Cleaver. All right. Not a lot of resistance is going to be coming in from EG outside of, like, Matt with the Gargoyles, so a surprising pickup, but honestly, I don't complain too much about that one. Is
1v3 time for Dokla.
Let's do it. 1v4. Okay.
In, exhausted, flashes away. Giyu 1v5. Dokla's not going to live. Certainly, his Kuma is going to kill him. And finally, Dokla goes a step too far.
I think he's learned his lessons. He knows how many members he can't deal with, and all of them use like the teleport from Kumo and Destiny from Giyu. That's so much pressure just given away to these side lanes. Now Evolved can just sit top lane, farm up some more to get to his second item. Looks like he might go for possibly a Zhonya's or maybe a Banshee's Veil if he wants to be a little bit more aggressive. And then, you know, just take a turret in this mid lane, try and get some additional damage onto it, and keep that pressure going. See if you can find some picks.
Transform is finished for Lost as well, by the way. Ooh. So it does have the Muramana done. Treats looking for the Zenith Blade, but Matt is going to flash away instead. But Treats has been so proactive with these Leona skill shots, trying to make sure the pressure of the pick is always apparent. And TSM completes 1v1 pretty happily here. Again, they got all this map space. And 3 people are trying to gank Evolve right now. Giyu, though, with no ulti, and Evolve having his ultimate and his distortion up, means that it is a tough mage to try and catch right now.
Yeah, and the one issue Evil Geniuses now has, though the compositions being similar, they can both find picks and they can both team fight and split push very efficiently. The issue for them is that Evil Geniuses is more ultimate dependent than TSM's composition, because TSM can look for pushes, can zone you out and not have to worry to use your ultimates, and not to mention Evolves is on a very low cooldown as well, where Evil Geniuses, like, you need the Destiny ultimate to help catch people on the side lanes, you need the Hextech ultimatum to lock down targets for Kumo, and definitely needs the Curtain Call to help finish off and clean those kills out. Looking at how that gold's been spread out, it's still that 2,000 gold differential on that top side. It's really been arguing fairly well for Dokla to just constantly be on these side lanes and just batter down Evil Geniuses. Now it's just a matter of time to see, with that teleport coming in from Giyu, if they can turn this game around.
3v4 right now. TSM, they're looking to turn tail and fight. Lost going to get revealed there. Cleanses off the gold card. Giyu into stasis. Here's the teleport for TSM. Looking for their own 5v4 as Winston's found the wraparound. Good ult from Lost there to protect the team as they charge back in. And Matt is going to be collateral as Lost is going to grab kill number 2.
Look at how healthy the rest of TSM Academy's members are, just hunting down Giyu now, who doesn't have Destiny to run away. Sure, he has Flash, but I don't think he's going to
Chain! Oh, not enough, but the counter-strike does land instead, and see you later! Oh my goodness, the Triforce done. As Treats into Zenith's Blade, he goes TP, and this time for Dokla. Big Dokes is coming in to take him out, and Winston over the wall as well, but he can't make it because he does have his Flash, but doesn't want to use it. Evolve, though, has plenty of ways to get over, as it's just chaos here in the bottom half of the map. It's ended dead as Big Dokes grabs the double kill, pumps the emote, and TSM are just running over EG right now.
Some of those fights were looking really ambitious there from Evil Geniuses Academy, but there was just a tool on TSM Academy that was there to answer the teleport or the cleanse coming in from both Lost and Dokla to answer those fights, answer those picks, and really swing this game and keep it back in their control. Zhonya's Hourglass was picked up from Evolve just then, so more survivable than aggressive on his end, but now you have just one dragon to go until you're able to get Soul. Randu and Zoman is bot, and now Jin is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, this feels real tough right now on the EG side as the gold. I mean, the gold is actually not that bad. Like,
yeah,
3,000.
It's still the 2K, 3K, yeah.
But like the actual, like, where the gold is going to in this game, what it's funding is the real problem here. Like, TSM, you know, needs to take this Baron and set up and then take some towers and really blow the game open. But when stuff like this is happening,
oh, bruh. Why'd you have to do it to him, observers? Why'd you have to do it?
Where'd it go?
I'm not gonna think about it because I think I'm just that's just an oopsie whoopsie.
Yeah,
Giyu there. unfortunate misclick, but nonetheless does mean that they don't have as much pressure anymore. Destiny is up and available, however, and with this situation coming in from TSM Academy, they say, hey, we could probably 2-man, 3-man Baron if we so choose. Dokla,
yeah.
He smacks.
Yeah, they can definitely do this. This is a pretty potent 2-man Baron combination. And the rest of TSM are going to apply the requisite pressure to open up the space. I mean, I've obviously been playing on the Baron side of the map, so he's making sure to push that down. Senna can move in for some emergency heals if she needs to. And effectively a 2-man hero, though TSM are going to have the band back together for this whole thing, although maybe a little early. They're going to have to finish it very quickly. They do indeed smite it down, but can they win the fight afterwards? Treats is locked up in the front line, but he's happy to take it. Senna ulti, making it also tricky, and Dokla has just dove into the back line. Matt's the only one to get stunned. He is going to be felled as a result, but Dokla is going to get low and finally be killed there, as Lost is going to have to get out of there, but the stun does not last for Kumo. The rest of TSM going back around as Lost is still alive, but Winston falls as well.
And with that, the Baron, though with only 2 members falling, Dokla, one of the important members that did lose his life in that fight, means that TSM can still apply at least a 4v1 split pressure, right? Evolve can sit on that side lane. Dokla can still sit and do a 1-3-1 if he so chooses, though it's not going to be as efficient, and there's still going to be some wave clear coming in from Evil Geniuses that could possibly answer it. But that's like the best recipe of success for TSM Academy now. Sure, you did lose those lives, but in the end, this power play is going to be immense. It's like a negative 300 right now because of those lives lost, but you're going to be able to make up for it in turrets, in farms, in jungle camps being taken away, and of course, with items being completed. If there's something that this Baron power play is going to get outside of wave control pressure, is going to be finalizations of those third items. Death Dance for Dokla, Death Dance for possibly Winston as well, and maybe a couple kills here for Evolved and Treats.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty easy pickings here. Kuma does have his flash, but he's just going to get Chain CC'd forever. As Evolved is going to be the one to deliver the last hit. Actually, his first kill of the game, so he's on the scoreboard. Nice. I'm
glad that Treats is a fan of the Dad Penguin as well. Haven't seen that one in a while, and I'm glad that it's coming back in this Academy playoffs. And this is just, once again, the control and zoning that Treats and Winston were able to provide. They immediately get that smite, and the zoning, and honestly, just the lead that they have with Dokla being able to just dive onto 3 members and not really wince at any of the damage being applied, just shows the pressure and the lead that TSM Academy has. Yes, you lose him inevitably, but the advantages that you're able to win from this is just enough to argue for those 2 deaths that you lost.
TSM still continuing to rack up towers. Baron power play and all that hot right now. But they do have 40 seconds to keep sieging. Giyu is trying to get gold for his team, though. Going to be looking to trade here up on the top side of the map. And with the Lich Bane completed, pushing pretty quickly on the Twisted Fates. So this is definitely an avenue where EG can look to stall the game out.
Yeah, it's nice.
Baron didn't do nearly as much as I think TSM thought it would. So game still on the verge of being broken open. Soul up in 45 seconds, kind of being the next major point.
Well, like I was mentioning, if anything that this Baron power play is going to be able to do is it's going to give them wave control, and it's going to give them finaling, like sort of closing out on those third items, right? Like we just saw actually Locket of the Iron Solari being grabbed from Winston. Great call, better than Death's Dance, and the Death's Dance actually from Dokla as well. And then you have the Void Staff that was completed from Evolve. So now you can just shred apart these members fairly quickly as if they were paper maches of their champions. And with the Dragon coming up, it is sole point. They have to contest it. Beautiful call from Dokla on the sideline.
Kuma just missing that stun, so into stasis goes Evolve. He flashes out as well. The team fight is in. Ragnarok is top. See you later. Kuma Lost actually gets it with the ulti at point blank range as Dokla is just messing up the EG backline. That's going to force the dual lane to flash out. That will give TSM the 5v4 around the Dragon Soul.
And it is still available. He could try and steal this one, and TSM knows it. They say we have to drag this one out, make sure that Nidalee cannot contest for the steal. We want this clean, we want this soul. And Anda getting greedy. Here he goes. Oh, that's too early.
Oh, Evolved also trying to find the snipe. Here's Dokla as well, looking to just win the team fight, but he hops back over the walls. TSM very clean around the soul. Do nab the mountain for themselves.
I was a little worried, for a moment, because Dokla was getting pretty low, but the healing from Lost and the zoning that Evolved and Treats were able to apply helped their top laner survive for now. He's sitting 5-4 right now. Like, it's it's one of those stat lines that it doesn't look impressive, but he's been providing so much pressure, so much tempo control for TSM Academy, and he's been making everyone else look good. Evolved, doing great for himself. Lost, sitting 4-0. He hasn't died this series.
Yep.
And this is all because of how TSM Academy has been able to work around their win conditions. And in this game, win conditions Dokla, and they've been using it perfectly.
Certainly so. He's actually still got 1,200 extra gold to go and spend. Baron up in a minute 20. Dokla going to go ahead and do said shopping right now because he also maybe has to regroup with his team. He doesn't have B. There's the Warden's Mail now added on top of the Death Dance he completed fairly recently. And TSM are just flush with riches. And again, the gold is still holding pretty close given where we are in this game. 2 to 3K mark has been where it's at for the last 10 or so minutes, but the state of the game has been very different. EG are dragging the game out to a point where they can kind of have a one-and-done team fight, or at least find an advantage around this Baron or maybe an Elder to get themselves into the game. So they're not out of the series just yet, but TSM, I feel like they don't make very many mistakes when they're in positions like this. That has been one of their signatures in Academy. They're often actually quite a lot slower than we've seen in this game and last game especially, but they're just so consistent and so mechanical in how they close out the game that they will give very few opportunities to EG.
Well, and it's an all too familiar ground, right, for both of these teams. Like I was mentioning earlier back, Evil Geniuses and TSM Academy in the regular season, their final game was something like this. Very similar compositions. They had a 2,000 gold lead. You had a strong solo laner in the game for TSM Academy who was able to take control of the map and really zone out Evil Geniuses Academy from these objective contestants. But Evil Geniuses won that game because they found these picks, they found these sort of side lane deaths, and were able to sort of swing themselves into a position where after that punishment, they could just take the game and quickly run down a lane and destroy the Nexus fairly quickly. So that is still available, but TSM has learned their lessons, it seems, and they're playing a lot safer and a lot more patient.
We're going to be peeling here because that Baron was not going to get finished in time. TP coming in for Kumo. Trees instantly stuns him as the team will jump on top of the Camille, but he's going to get out for now. Lost. He's going to escort Dokla back to safety, but the Ragnarok is popped there for Olaf. We're going to run down Andy here. In fact, any target's a good one at this point because Matt is going to be stunned up and locked down, and Winston is just zerging down this needly. But Evolve, he's low, but that's the wrong Evolve. That's his clone there. LeBlanc tricks everyone, even casters, as Ander is going to keep getting chased here by the rest of TSM as they just have too much of a lead, too much strength with the Mountain Soul, and two good-looking team fights to take down 2 from EG, despite everything being thrown at that attempt.
It was looking bleak for TSM a little bit, but the sustain from Lost and just the chasing capability that Winston and Dokla were able to provide just completely corrals individual members, separates them from the rest of the team, and they can't help each other sort of try and peel and backstep to keep this fight going. Goes in favor of TSM. They grab the Baron once more. They could reset onto it because of how healthy their members are, and with this second Baron power play, this could be the final nail in the coffin.
Yep. If the first Baron was the one to kind of set themselves up for this spot, this Baron is probably the one that's going to break the game. But let's watch this one again, a very hectic 5v5.
And this is what I was talking about. They immediately divided the members of Evil Geniuses Academy. These similar compositions, they want a team fight, they want to stay together. You separate them immediately, these compositions fall apart piece by piece, and that is exactly what happened. Yeah, you could try and zone out with the curtain call, but you can already see Winston was able to constantly keep Anda under control, keep him within arm's reach, and helps finalize that kill. Unfortunate for Matt that he was caught in the line of fire, but with the Baron power play for the second time in this game going over, you look at the damage chart. Kumo did not deal a single piece of damage that fight, and that just shows you separating this team up makes this whole plan go awry for Evil Geniuses Academy and take this fight by storm from TSM.
All right, well, Winston getting jumped on as Anders follow up, but it's pretty tanky actually on Olaf. Going Cinderhawk like he did in game 1.
Knight's Vow too. That's a great call as well, just to keep either Evolved or Dokla alive for just a little bit longer, and it just makes the fighting so much harder to take over for EG.
Dokla has also been a big bully in the top lane. He's got 4 items now, just trying to knock down some towers himself. Jackson Baron buff is pretty nasty. Evolved also looking to dive in. That's a lot of damage on the Giyu, as 8 pages in the Magi's right now for Evolved. Could potentially be more as the game continues. But TSM, this is the brand new take to look to end the game, as I cannot believe that root didn't hit Giyu. Lost has been pretty on point so far, but this siege looks a little tricky to overcome. It's the dive in there, straight in. But Treats has lost support with the ulti, and insta-flash Ragnarok in for Winston as they're going to look to close up this game. Stasis there for Andakumo, trying to get Lost. He's trying to ruin the KDA before the series is over, but Lost will not be killed as he goes and hides in the mist, and now Kumo is going to be in stasis, and the only one left alive apart from the other three there on the left side of the screen, because there's been two fights happening at once. Treats going to redive back in. It's a 3v2, but Treats is tanking all three right now as Evolve dives, gets the kill, going to make it two here as Definitely is going to kite it out and not take down the mid laner. It was the clone once again, and now Treats is going to be the biggest homie and tank up all of the balls as Lost heals him up, and Lost says, you know what, I think I fancy ending the game instead. A very protracted siege on that inhibitor, but it looks like a TSM sweep is on the cards as they look to finish off this game, but they need a little bit of help. Minions get in there quickly. Evolve diving in there, just going to absolutely snap Definitely in two, and he's somehow still alive because the fountain's overpowered, but TSM Academy are going to take down the Nexus to end this series and push themselves into yet another final.
And that final fight for this Nexus describes the series so perfectly, wraps up the bow. It's TSM and Evil Geniuses going blow for blow, finding those fights, trying to make those picks, but they were never able to get on Lost this entire series, never able to kill the man. Wonderful performance, and of course Dokla holding the line all on his own and cleaning that final third game to help his team take an absolute sweep in these semifinals. Well played from TSM Academy.
Yeah, I feel like even though Game 2 was the most dominant game for TSM in the series, I feel like they only got better as the games went on. Like, Game 1 was a very close affair, and as soon as TSM kind of flipped that game around and managed to win after actually one team fight around the Dragon, I didn't feel like EG found any way back into the series with how well TSM were playing. Like, genuinely, I feel like Treats got jet lag moving from the LCS to Academy. Needed to figure out what was happening in one game, and then it just didn't stop from there. They look so good across the board.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you on that with TSM Academy, just improving every single game throughout this series, because especially with that last game, with how similar the compositions are, it's one of those things of saying, okay, we know how we need to play, but so do they. So it's a lot of situations where you're running into awkward states of oh, they're ganking at the same time we're ganking, or we're finding a pick the same time they're finding a pick. So the fact that they're able to deflect the plans and strategies of Evil Geniuses, and at the same time that they were making their own plays, is so well done from them, and it really shows the prowess and the growth that they're able to make throughout an entire series, and it makes me really excited for them going on into next week to see how well they'll be able to perform against their opponent.
Yeah, well, of course, we'll see them in the finals, but we are stepping away for a short break, but when we return, we'll have TSM's Lost in a Verizon post-game interview. We'll see you there.